Imagine, if you will. The answer is, you're on a trivia show. I took, and you don't know the answer to any of the questions. Sorry. Scary, right? Well, not on this show, because in this game, you can answer questions wrong and still win $1 million.
I totally believed you on that.
Hello and welcome to the game show Bullshit, where contestants try to find the answers to difficult trivia questions, and if they don't know the answer, they just go on to plan B. Bullshit. This episode is a special one that revolves around the photographer and photojournalist Jacob Riis. Welcome to our contestant, Andrew. So, Andrew, question 1 for $1,000. Jacob Riis was born in blank, but immigrated and started his career in blank in 1870. Was it A, Alabama and Boston, B, Antarctica and Egypt, C, Denmark and New York City, or D, Ghana and Siberia?
I'm gonna go C, Denmark and New York City.
Okay, so why did you think Denmark and New York City?
Well, I thought Denmark and New York City because I feel like I remember upon his arrival in New York City, Riis struggled his way through various jobs. Iron worker, farmer, bricklayer, salesman, all jobs that gave him a close look at a prosperous life in American urban environment. And I remember that fact and connected it to this question.
I'm gonna call bullshit because I know that Jacob died in Massachusetts, which means that the answer is most likely A, he was born in Alabama but started his career in Boston.
So Andrew, Autumn thought you fell at the first hurdle and you were telling bullshit. But the real answer was C. Jacob Riis was born in Denmark and moved to New York City. So congratulations Andrew, you made it on to question 2, which is worth $10,000. What did Jacob Riis use to photograph the interiors and exteriors of the slums in New York? A, a flash lamp, B, a Nikon camera, C, his iPhone, or D, a disposable camera from CVS?
This is an easy one, Oscar. I'm gonna go with A, a flash lamp.
I believe him. I think that he used the flash lamp because I know that he was among the first to use flash powder in order to photograph interior views.
So congratulations Andrew, you convinced the other contestants that you were telling the truth. And you know, he was telling the truth, he knew the answer. The answer was a flash lamp. So now he moves on to the question worth $25,000. What was the name of Riis's book written in 1890? Is it A, Where the Sidewalk Ends, B, How the Other Half Lives, C, Life in New York, or D, The Great Gatsby?
Well, Oscar, I think it's gonna be B, How the Other Half Lives. This was a very famous book that helped launch Riis's career as a social reformer and famous photojournalist.
I believe Oscar because Riis used this book to show the horrible conditions that surrounded New York that weren't normally on display. So this book sparked a huge career change for him as a social reformer and famous photojournalist.
So congratulations Andrew, you convinced the other contestants yet again, and it didn't matter either way because he was correct. The answer was B, How the Other Half Lives. Now he moves on to the big money, the 50k question. Which president was Riis friends with when the said president was the governor of New York? A, Theodore Roosevelt, B, Donald Trump, C, John F. Kennedy, or D, Grover Cleveland?
Oscar, I learned this in my Journalism 1002 course. This is an easy one. Grover Cleveland. They used to play golf together all the time and they were very close work associates back then.
I'm gonna have to agree with Andrew only because I have no idea about anything that has to do with golf.
Andrew, you might be the most persuasive guest we've ever had on this show because you convinced them yet again that you were not bullshitting. But in fact, everyone, he was bullshitting. The answer was A, Theodore Roosevelt. The two were good friends, and Roosevelt created the Tenement House Department in 1901, which helped enforce new building standards. and documents safety and health violations in New York City. So Andrew, moving up again to the $75,000 question. Finish the quote from Riis. The slum is the measure of what? A. Journalism, B. Society, C. Civilization, or D. Development?
I'm going to go with C, civilization. The reason why is because many of Riis's most famous photos showed the hardship of life in poverty.
I think Andrew is lying. When he answered the question, I saw him look around the room. He looks really nervous, and so I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Wow, so Andrew, you've been called for bullshit. Interesting, but he was correct. He wasn't bullshitting. The answer really was C, civilization. Most of his famous photos did in fact show the hardship of life in poverty, so that does make sense. So now he really moves on to the big money. He moves into six figures. It's the 100K question. How many siblings did Jacob Riis have? Is it A, 1, B, 5, C, 15, or D, I mean surely it can't be D, 30?
Well, definitely not D. But I'm going to go with C, 15. Riis was the third of 15 children, and his father was actually a school teacher while his mother was a homemaker.
I believe Andrew because I also come from a big family, so knowing big families is my thing, and Jacob Riis does come from one, so answer is 15.
So, both of them were correct. The answer was C. Very good knowledge from both of them that he was the third of 15 children. So now we move on to the 500K question, the penultimate question of this show. In How the Other Half Lives, one of Riis's famous books, what techniques did he employ that was groundbreaking for its time? Is it A, halftone, B, 4K, C, spray paint, or D, lens flare?
I'm going to go with A, halftone, which uses 18 line drawings as well as 17 uses of halftone reproduction.
I'm gonna have to call bullshit on Andrew because I do photography on the side and I think that the answer is D, lens flare. Because, you know, considering he uses like a flash bulb lamp, I feel like a flash would be like, you know, a flare of light. So that's gonna be my answer.
So convincing answers from both of them, I guess. I don't know who to believe, so it's lucky that I've got the answers here on the screen. And Andrew was indeed correct. The answer was A, halftone, which of course for all of you budding photographers that know what that is. Halftone is where dots are used varying in size and spacing, so then from a distance it shows a complete image. So now we're here, the climax of the show, the $1 million question. Let's go, Andrew, let's hope you get it. What area of New York City did Riis lead a 10-year project to reform? A, Mulberry Bend, B, Chelsea, C, Soho, or D, Little Italy?
This is a big one, Oscar. But I'm going to go with Mulberry Bend because I'm aware of the issues that area faced. Issues like poverty, crime, sanitation, disease.
I think I'm going to have to call bullshit on Andrew. It's the $1 million question, and I just think that Mulberry Bend does not sound like a very bad area, so I'm going to call bullshit on Andrew.
So, Olivia's called bullshit on Andrew. Is there going to be a final twist in this tale? The answer is no. Andrew wins $1 million. The answer is A, Mulberry Bend. The of reform of Mulberry Bend led to the construction of 5 Points Park, leading to cleaner air, reduced crime, and space for children to play safely. So congratulations, Andrew. You're now $1 million richer. He was one of the first in this country to begin using photographic images in service of social change. He used his techniques to publicize issues such as crises in housing, education, and poverty. Jacob Riis also wrote a book called How the Other Half Lives, published in 1890. With this book, Jacob helped in launching the Progressive Era, which was a period of time where social activism spread across the United States. He was a fantastic man, but not quite as amazing as Andrew, who's walked away $1 million richer.